ever do a live stream here on Fantasy Tip. It's a big day tomorrow, Saturday. There's every single team in the NHL playing, so I figured what better time to go live and try to answer all of your questions based on who you want to start and sit, because no matter what, no matter how ideal your lineup is, you have to sit some guys tomorrow. So this is the time where I'm going to be answering your questions. Max here with me as well, and we're both going to be trying to help you out as much as possible, answer your questions, and make sure that you guys have your optimal lineups tomorrow. Also, if you have any other questions about anything else fantasy related as well, we're more than happy to help you and answer your questions. So that's the deal today. Do you want to add anything,
everybody? What do you think about Evander Kane's production recently going down? You think he's a keeper like me, or would you flip the switch in 6-8 man leagues?
Evander Kane, you gotta hold him in any type of league, man. His floor is just is so safe. Like, even if he's not producing point wise, he's putting up hits, he's putting up shots. Like, the guy is gonna and you know he's gonna put up the points like sooner or later, right? Like, Evander Kane's not someone that I would ever drop. And earlier in the season, he went down to like the 60% range, and I told people like, you got to scoop that guy up right away. And he turned it around. He started scoring points left and right, and I expect the same thing going forward.
150% agree with you.
Let's look and see what questions we got so far, because we got quite a few questions in the chat here. Let's take a look. So first guy was Ham. He said start one out of Raquel, Pacioretty, Jarvis, Drouin, and Seguin tomorrow.
It's a nice list. It's a nice list.
A nice list. What we would have to do before we tell you who to start is actually check out the matchups, because those guys are pretty similar. Out of just the player alone, I would say Raquel, probably, because he's been really, really good. I'm not sure if you agree.
So we had Seguin, Raquel, Pacioretty. Who were the other two?
Drouin, Jarvis. Yeah, Drouin, Jarvis.
Drouin's been on
Raquel's
fire.
Playing Carolina, which is a rough matchup.
Yeah.
Pacioretty, I'd say he hasn't really heated up yet, so ignore him.
Plus, probably playing Shesterkin tomorrow.
And Seguin is playing Chicago, which might be a little bit tempting there.
Yeah, I like them Dallas players for tomorrow. I know I'm loading up, for example, in one league, I'm loading up Matt Duchene instead of Zibanejad, which I wouldn't do normally. But with Zibanejad being kind of iffy with his sickness and Dallas having a dream matchup at Chicago, I'm very confident about the Dallas players.
It'll be interesting to see who starts in Chicago too, because if Mrazek starts, I like Mrazek a lot more than I like Soderblom, that's for sure. I think Mrazek has been fantastic this year, considering what he's had to work with. I think he's been a very, very good goalie, but Soderblom has been pretty bad. So I would say that if Soderblom starts, then definitely lock and load all your Dallas players. But if Mrazek starts, I'd be a little bit more hesitant. But obviously, you're still playing those Dallas players, right? He's still going to let in quite a few goals. There's only so much that he can do, right?
Also, if Toronto decides to start Hildebrand or Samsonov tomorrow, I like Jonathan Drouin to get some points on the board against Toronto.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's probably going to be Martin Jones starting, but yeah,
because they have a back-to-back.
Yeah,
but to me, it would definitely be Drouin or Seguin ahead of Raquel and the rest.
Yeah, I would say probably start Seguin for that. My personal opinion, I would probably start Seguin here. He's probably got the highest upside with the matchup that he has, in my opinion. All right, let's go to the second question here. Guentzel or Fiala for Saturday? Okay, Guentzel or Fiala. So Gentzel's playing Carolina, and Fiala is playing Detroit. I would say the nice thing is that Fiala is finally turning his season around. He's a guy where, if you guys can buy low on him right now, that's a guy to be grabbing right now, because Fiala always sucks in the first half of the season, and he always goes off second half. It's uncanny how much he does this every single year after year. This is what's going to happen. So if you guys can buy low on him right now, Fiala is really a guy that you seriously want to be looking to add to your team if you can add him in a trade. I'm not sure if you agree with me, Max, but that's my personal opinion.
Between Guentzel and Fiala?
No, just trading for Fiala in general because the dude always starts off slow and ends up
Yeah,
killing it.
he has hot endings, definitely. But as for tomorrow,
I would go
I
Gensel.
remembered Gwenzel having a big game against Carolina, so I'm looking at his all-time stats against the Hurricanes, and it's really really good. I think he has over a point per game in his career against the Hurricanes.
Yeah,
Uh,
not to mention he's been fantastic lately too. So I would
whereas
Gensel for sure.
whereas Kevin Fiala has played quite poorly against the Red Wings in his career. It's tough to see the all-time stats here, but he's got something like 2 goals, 7 assists, 9 points in about 13, 14 games. I'm looking quickly. It doesn't give me the exact numbers, but in terms of the teams they play against and their record so far, definitely Jake Gwenzel. So
Yeah,
whenever there's two really good players like Gwenzel and Fiala, and you're not sure, I like to take a look at the history against the teams that they play, because sometimes you find things that you wouldn't expect.
yeah, that
Like
is really good advice.
Fiala only having 2 goals in like 15 games against Detroit is something that we should know before loading them up.
It's something to keep in mind for sure. That's a very good point. And we have some nice comments there in the chat saying good idea to do the stream. Obviously, that it was just something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and finally it seemed that we had some time to do it, and it seemed to be a perfect night to do it tonight ahead of obviously your Saturday game. So yeah, obviously if you guys enjoy it, maybe we'll start doing it more on busier nights.
Glad to be here with you, brother. It's good to see you.
All right, let's go to the next one. Is PK actually a special guest on this live stream? No, unfortunately, Subban is not going to be attending our live stream, at least not to my knowledge. Subban, if you're here, let us know, and
I almost put PK's t-shirt on top of that. That's funny.
That's funny. All right, let's take a look here. Vasilevsky, Ingram, Lyon, or Shesterkin tomorrow? So obviously take that with a grain of salt because make sure they're actually confirmed before you start anybody. But Vasilevsky is playing against the Ducks, so fire him up for sure. Then we got Ingram is playing.
I think that's enough, brother. I think Vasilevsky at home against the Ducks is a no-brainer. To be honest with you, I have a big bias, but I'm really biased when it comes to Vas. I own him in my points league, and even when he has tough matchups at home, I don't ask myself 2 times. I load him up. Sometimes it hurts me, even if he's playing Colorado or something. But Vasilevsky, to me, is the best goaltender in the NHL. Tampa Bay is not as stacked as they were a couple of years ago, but they're still a top NHL team.
Yeah,
So
if he's not the best in the NHL, he's definitely up there. But I think I'm assuming he wants us to start 2 of those goalies, right?
Oh, okay.
Lyon is playing the Kings, and the Kings are actually on a 7-game losing streak. So it actually might end up being a win for Lyon.
Who are the other 2 goalies?
Because I think they've been good.
Sorry, who were the other 2 goalies?
Ingram's playing Minnesota, and Shesterkin is playing the Capitals. I'd probably go Shesterkin, even though he hasn't been that great. It's tough to say because Lyon, if you really want to win, the Kings have been losing a lot. So you can, if you're trying to go for a win here specifically, Lyon might not be the worst pick here. Ingram's been pretty solid all year. Whether or not he starts tomorrow against the Wild could be a good play, but also Gustafsson for the Wild might be back tomorrow, so that might not be the easiest game to win because Gustafsson, when healthy, has played very, very well, especially as of late. So definitely start Vasilevsky, and personally, I'd roll the dice between Lyon and Shesterkin, and I would say Shesterkin. Hopefully, he can play better than he has been lately. If he does, definitely that's going to be your best play. But Lyon might even be a little bit safer because Kings game tend to be a little bit lower scoring, and they've been losing a lot. So I'd say Lyon's a little bit safer. Shesterkin's has more upside though.
Bear in mind also that the Rangers do play on Sunday. Therefore, Jonathan Quick might be the one going in on Saturday to let Shesterkin get the Sunday game. So that's something you need to watch out for. But
that's true. So
that
makes your decision a lot easier. I'd go Vasilevsky, Lyon easy if Shesterkin's not even playing. So
But
All
at the
right.
base, Vasilevsky for sure, and Shesterkin is a not bad second option. I would go Shesty over Lyon.
Yeah. Yeah. Next point was the goalies in Carolina are questionable at best with Kochetkov going down. How long is Kochetkov out for? Do you know the update on that?
Well, that's why I texted you about Yaniv Peretz being from our neighborhood, because to be honest, I hadn't heard of him. So I think Kochetkov might be out for a couple of weeks. Let me double check that.
Because if that's the case, then maybe firing up Pittsburgh Penguins players wouldn't be the worst decision tomorrow. Because Ronte has been very, very bad.
To be honest with you, they're saying Kochetkov minimum a week.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I feel like Ranta. I'm willing to like step over Antti Ranta's beginning of the year. I know he's had like abysmal save percentage, but if you look at his home record in the past couple of years, even with the bad beginning of the season, he's still one of the top goalies at home in the NHL for the past few years. His record is incredible. I don't have it in front of me, but Antti Ranta at home is normally a hack. So I'm willing to trust him. I don't know if he's going to get lit up the same way that he did for in the past few months. Maybe his stint in the AHL since he got waived helped him out, and I'm willing to give him a second chance. I'm
Fair
more
enough.
confident.
And also the Hurricanes almost always beat the Penguins, or at least it's a very close game almost always when they play each other. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I think Ranta might be a little bit better than people are giving him credit for tomorrow. So if you do need to stream a goalie, honestly, probably isn't the worst thing. But yeah, yeah, maybe in general they might be in trouble. But I think Ranta is a little bit better than he's been this year. And yeah, if not, we'll see how good that local guy is.
Yeah, Yaniv Peretz. Straight from the East Coast, eh? No AHL play, no NHL play. Straight from the East Coast.
From the UCHL, oh my goodness.
Yeah, but he had like phenomenal NCAA numbers, so it's left to see, but it's a big gap for sure.
That'll be interesting to see for sure. All right, Raquel, Nyquist, Velarde, Evander Kane, Tippett, Sharangovich. Need to pick a left wing and a right wing out of these. I think it's impossible to sit Nyquist right now. He's on what, like a 10-game point streak or something?
Yeah, I would go Tippett at right wing, Nyquist at left wing. That would be me.
Yeah.
If only you could put Evander Kane and Nyquist, but unfortunately, can't do that. Yeah,
Nyquist you can't sit right now, and Tippett has a really safe floor right now. He's hitting a lot. He's shooting a lot. He's actually one of the players that shoots and hits the most per 60 minutes in the entire NHL. So the floor there is incredibly safe. So if you're in the lead, starting Tippett is a good idea right now. If you're trying to catch up points, his ceiling isn't insanely high, but definitely he's still someone that I'd look at. Otherwise, Sharangovich is just coming off a hat trick and also a 2-point game before that. He's someone that I like, but unfortunately, he doesn't have that right wing eligibility, and I would start Nyquist ahead of him. So
it's worth mentioning that Tippett is now on the third line, plays with Lawton and Atkinson, so it's not a bad line at all. I mean, the entire forward corps in Philadelphia is fantasy relevant. It's crazy, you know. You can get hits from the fourth line. You got guys like Owen Tippett, Scott Lawton on the third line. You got the rookie line with Forster, Morgan Frost, Bobby Brink that are all boomer busts. But they're
Imagine saying that at the beginning of the season that all of Philadelphia's lines would be fantasy relevant.
That's funny, yeah.
Oh. But yeah, I would definitely go Tippett and Nyquist there.
100% agree with you.
Yeah. This next guy's saying he's got one ad left this week. He needs blocks and penalty minutes. He's looking to pick up a D, Drysdale, Faber, or Haley. I guess he means Harley.
Harley.
Yeah.
So all that's for this weekend or long term?
He needs blocks and penalty minutes, so I'm assuming he wants to win this week. I think Faber is probably getting the most peripherals out of those guys.
But he also has the toughest matchup, no?
playing Arizona tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, he's playing Arizona. That's not too bad.
No, not at all.
He's honestly been going off lately. The peripherals are coming. He's playing power play 1. But again, honestly, you can't go wrong with any of those 3 guys. Harley's also playing power play 1, and so is Drysdale, and all 3 of them are looking really good right now. In terms of peripherals, I think Drysdale might offer a little bit less than those other 2 guys. So personally, I'd lean Faber. I'm not sure if you agree with me, Max, but that would be my pick.
Yeah. I'm torn between Harley and Faber, to be honest. I think I would lean. Well, if it's only for blocks and penalty minutes, probably Brock Faber, because he plays 28, 30 minutes per night.
It's a ridiculous amount of minutes, yeah.
But if he also needs other things like points, power play, stuff like that, I would lean Thomas Harley.
Yeah, Harley's been looking great in Heiskanen's absence. I wonder if he actually keeps that top power play spot when Heiskanen comes back too, because Heiskanen really has not been that amazing this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
They're going to give Heiskanen his PP1 spot back, and also just to mention, Jamie Drysdale is on the PP2, so to me he's definitely the last option out of the bunch.
All right. Is there a report on Jenner being back? Do you know anything about that? I don't have Jenner in any of my leagues this year, which is surprising considering how much I love him. But he's not someone I kept tabs on too much this year. Although this year he's actually got a lot more value than he had in previous years because he randomly got assigned left wing status this year, and he didn't play, I don't think, a single game last year left winger. But they were like, you know what, we'll give him left wing.
Are you sure? I feel like I had Jenner. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I feel like at some point he had all the.
Yeah, 2 years ago he had left wing, but they realized he didn't actually play left wing, so they got rid of it. And for some reason, they added it back. It's very rare he doesn't. He's a fantastic centerman and wins a lot of faceoffs. So it's rare that he doesn't play at center.
So Boone Jenner was at practice last week, but he was wearing a full face mask in a non-contact jersey. It said that he's still a couple weeks away from playing, so they were expecting him back on January 19th, so a week from now. But I would think that they would. I would say probably more end of January, last week of January. But who knows? Maybe he'll be back before.
It's good. At some point this month, hopefully. Then.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Velarde was nice for a bit, but had to drop him after a few weeks of slacking. He picked up Seguin and Blake Coleman, and they've been going off. I mean, great move there. It seems like you're in a shallower league, but I mean, that's not a knock on you. That's that you played that exactly perfectly. Like this is probably an 8-man league. You dropped him and picked up those guys that are hot. That's exactly how you should be playing an 8-man league, in my opinion. So great job to you. So Bennett, Mercer, or Elias Lindholm on Saturday. So who's Florida playing on Saturday? Because I actually like Bennett a lot more lately with Tkachuk going off and all that. They're playing the Devils, okay.
The Devils, yeah.
So yeah, Mercer, Bennett are playing each other, or at least Lindholm, and the Flames are playing the Golden Knights.
To me, it would be between Bennett and Lindholm, and there's no bad picks between the two. They're probably in the same. They hold the same value in my mind.
Yeah, it's a bangers league. So if hits actually count for a decent amount, I would maybe even lean Bennett a little bit. With Tkachuk.
How has he been doing on the Paris this year? For him and Jenner are two guys I normally own a lot, but I don't have any of them.
I do have Bennett in one of my leagues this year. Unfortunately, it's not a league that values hits that highly, but I think his hitting's decent. He's shooting a little bit as well. He's someone that definitely has underwhelmed this year a lot, but with Tkachuk finally breaking out of his shell and going off, Bennett's been reaping a little bit of those benefits and getting a point almost per game lately. So his ceiling isn't super high, I would say, but he's probably going to score a point for you tomorrow against the Devils, whose goalies are not very good either. I would bank on him scoring a point for sure.
And who is Calgary playing tomorrow?
The Golden Knights.
The Golden Knights. Is it in Vegas or in Calgary?
It's in Vegas, I believe.
It's in Vegas. All right. I'd lean Bennett as well.
Yeah, it depends. Are the goalies finally? Is like Hill finally back now?
I don't think so.
So it's going to be Patera again, or is Thompson's back? But even so, I'd probably still go Bennett. Honestly, I think Patera's been good enough. Let's see what's next. Fiala's getting hot, but Gensel is great, and Philip Forsberg is a must-start always. Of course, Philip Forsberg is a must-start always. I have him in one of my leagues. I drafted him in like the 10th round, and he's like top 10 in the league. So Philip Forsberg, if you guys drafted him this year, you're absolutely reaping the benefits. And yeah, he's definitely a must-start always over like almost any player. Well, now we can't buy Fiala low since you called out his hot endings. Well, not everybody watches this channel, so find someone who does. All right, sit one. Nichushkin, Konechny, or DeBrincat for Saturday. I'm not sitting Nichushkin ever. I love Nichushkin.
This is Nichushkin or who? I'm sorry.
Nichushkin, Konechny, or DeBrincat. I'm probably sitting DeBrincat, honestly.
Are we talking points league only?
It doesn't say.
Yeah, and Nichushkin's been hot on the power play recently. I know because I'm playing against.
He's been a top 20 player lately, like easy.
I'm playing against him and Rantanen this week, so every time they get a power play point, it's a dagger to the heart.
So you don't want him to get points, but it's gonna happen. I'm sorry.
It looks like Nichushkin is the play for sure.
Nichushkin, and then Konechny's playing the Jets, whereas DeBrincat is playing against the Kings. And even though the Kings have been losing, they haven't been allowing them any goals. Talbot has been decent despite him not winning. The Jets, obviously, I mean, Hellbuck's coming off a shutout as well. So, I mean, both the opponent and both they're going to be rough for both those guys. I'd probably go Konechny personally. I think he's been the better player overall this year. I'm not sure if you agree with that, Max, but
yeah, I actually do. I actually thought you were going to go DeBrincat, but I agree with you.
No, I would say DeBrincat, I think.
And he's on pace to score 40 goals this year. Like, nobody's really talking about it, but good shot volume. Not that many hits and blocks, but at 21 goals in 41 games, you can't complain.
No, definitely. He said, also, is it time to bench Saros until he figures things out? That's a rough. It depends on the type of league you're in. I think if you're in a points league where like saves count for points, I would never bench Saros, even though he's been kind of rough. But if you're in a categories league, absolutely bench Saros until he figures it out. He's going to be costing you those categories, right? Unless he's got like a really favorable matchup, and then I would still play him. But until he shows you that he can perform in those tough matchups, I probably would consider sitting him, especially if you do have another goalie in a categories league that's producing those points, and you're still hitting your minimum games, right? I'm not sure if you agree with that, Max, but that's my opinion.
Not a big fan of benching the goalies at the base, but yeah, it depends. I think it also depends on who your other goalies are. If you can load one up in the meantime, if you can stream one, it depends on so many things. But me personally, I'm not a big fan of benching goalies, especially not top 10 options. Whether they're, to me, you ride with them, you sync with them.
All right. Mike says, thanks for answering me. No problem, Mike. Ask as many questions as you need. Should I start Raymond or Byfield tomorrow? Lucas Raymond or Quinton Byfield? Is Byfield still playing on that top line with Kopitar? I believe so, right?
Byfield, yeah. They've been together all year.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I assume they're still there. I know they're on a losing streak, so I thought they might be switching things up or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, Lucas Raymond, the thing is, you can start him and he can get you like 3 points, or you can start him and he can get you like not even a shot on goal. But that's kind of the same thing with Byfield. So both those guys are gonna be riskier starts. I believe that they're both top power play right now as well, both Byfield and Lucas Raymond. So I'd probably lean Byfield, but I don't think starting or sitting Lucas Raymond versus Byfield is gonna sit or sink your week. I think it's either way you'll probably get a similar amount of points, and I don't think that's going to cost you your week, no matter who you choose there. I'd probably personally lean Byfield, but
I lean Byfield just because he's on the forward PP1. He's on line one. So is Lucas Raymond, but Lucas Raymond is at the point on the power play, so probably more assists. It depends if you're in a Cats league, you need power play goals, power play assists. But I would lean Byfield, but I agree with you. It's so tight. It's not that's going to make you win or sink you your week.
No, for sure. All right, next question is, hey guys, I just lost Kochetkov and need a goalie. Should I grab Gustafsson, Fleury, Ingram, or trade Fiala and Marchessault for Tuck and Vasilevsky?
Oh my! What's the trade offer?
It's a Cats league, so Fiala and Marchessault for Tuck and Vasilevsky, or he can grab Gustafsson. Though I would just grab Gustafsson. He's a phenomenal goalie in my opinion. He'll put up some good numbers, and you don't have to give up an insanely hot Fiala who's like starting to break out right now. Although that trade is,
I really like that trade though. I like it. Fiala, Marchessault, especially if it's a Cats league. The guys, sure, they're really good point producers, like Fiala, but Vasilevsky is in a league of his own. The fun thing about Gustafsson is that his second half numbers last year were absolutely elite. If you grabbed from I think it was mid-November or early December to the end of the year, he was still a top 9 goalie in the league, fantasy-wise.
That's why I don't think it's worth trading for Vasilevsky when you can get pretty much the same kind of production with a free agent in Gustafsson. So I'd probably lean that way. Definitely Gustin over Fleury or Ingram for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Ingram is confirmed already for tomorrow. That's good. Igor needs a win. Everybody hates him right now. Kind of true. I don't own Igor in any leagues. I'm not picking a goalie that early ever in a draft. But yeah.
For Davis Winkleman that said over Evander Kane, y'all crazy. I'll invite you to look at the Oilers lineup. Evander Kane is playing on the third line with McLeod and probably Fuego. He's on the second power play, and I own him. I'm not dropping him, but I'm for sure benching him tomorrow. He hasn't done a good job at all. Suspecting maybe playing through an injury because he looked really slow last week and his stats like show for it. He's playing with Derek Ryan and Connor Brown. Actually, he's not even playing with Ryan McLeod. So I don't think Derek Ryan.
Bad. And listen, I know they are playing the Habs tomorrow, so there is a chance that you can go and score a couple points. But I mean, the deployment's terrible. He's not top power play. His line mates are bad. I mean, sure, maybe he will score a couple points, but there's definitely guys I'd rather be putting in there tomorrow than Evander Kane.
I'm a big Evander Kane fan, by the way. Like I'm keeping him for the playoffs. You're not dropping Evander Kane, but definitely bench him tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Next question is Tuck versus Vancouver or Velarde versus Philadelphia. Well, it's a tough one, actually.
Yeah.
Tuck is the better player, in my opinion.
But Velarde has these insane stretches of domination with Scheifele and Ehlers.
Yeah. He's a little bit colder now. Yeah, so I would say personally it depends on your matchup. If you're down and you need a boatload of points, throw Velarde in there and cross your fingers.
Also,
if you need a safe floor, go Tuck.
I'm looking at Daily Faceoff right now, and I remember reading that Scheifele got injured. Ehlers has the yellow cone with the exclamation point, so both of them might not play. Therefore, Alex Tuck would be the clear winner, unless they decide to play Gabe Velarde 25 minutes and give him 10 minutes of power play time. But I think Alex Tuck would be the play for tomorrow if the Jets guys aren't feeling so good.
Yeah, I would. I think Tuck is a safer bet regardless. Tyler said I dropped somebody for Marchment tonight. Marchment's it has been great, so definitely I don't know who you said you dropped for Marchment, but he's Marchment's been good, so don't worry about that. What's next? Carolina will win no matter the goalie. Penguins have looked like a peewee team in my opinion, except the obvious standout players. Well, the stats don't lie, and the history of Penguins against Carolina, the Hurricanes almost always do win against the Penguins. Although I believe their last meeting or the one before that, the most recent one that I watched, the Penguins actually won, I believe, in overtime or shootout. But either way, it'll be probably a close game, but probably the Hurricanes will win. Is Georgiev a start for Saturday? He has Hellbuck and Ronta as well. Okay, well, Hellbuck, you're starting always. Georgiev against the Leafs is definitely scary.
I would go Ranta.
Yeah.
I would go Ranta.
Scoring a ridiculous amount. And honestly, Georgiev has not been that amazing this year. He's letting in at least 3 or 4 goals a game. So,
but like we said, Carolina has a very good history against the Penguins. I really don't like to load any goalie against Toronto for a reason, right? But
one that's been kind of, not that great this year, like overall stats. Yeah, he has not impressed me too much this year, Georgiev. Okay. Wish Philadelphia power play was worth a single penny. Legit. I think they have the league's worst power play this year. Hopefully, if they put Drysdale on that top power play unit, maybe he'll be able to turn things around maybe a little bit. But yeah, it's funny to see how good Philadelphia's been all year with a terrible, terrible power play.
Yeah. What a good coach, eh?
And yeah, I mean, it's people like to throw Tortorella a lot of shade, but it's hard to criticize him this year with how good he's been.
He's my Jack Adams winner right now. What about you?
He's not going to win it, but he should. Based on how crappy that lineup is, that roster at the beginning of the year, everyone thought that was a bottom 5 team.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with Couturier and Atkinson coming back, like he's done a great job of coaching this team and making them actually believe that they can be a playoff team, which is huge. All right. Correct. Phil Faber's peripherals against any team are elite. They have been very, very good. Faber snapping a stick on the bottom of the bench the other night shows he's got some emotion. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Jenner should be back soon from the fractured jaw. Loved him early in the year. Jenner is a phenomenal player to be having on any, especially if you're in like a Cats league. He's filling the entire stat sheet. He's someone that I targeted, but I didn't get to draft any leagues this year.
He's a league winner in Cats league, 100%.
And even if you're in a points-based league where these peripherals count for like some points, that they add up as well, which is really nice. Gives you a safe floor every single night. Big fan of the channel. Number 1 in the league. He's got Natchez and Ehlers and Werenski. Thoughts on ad drops for playoffs? Well, I can't help you there unless you tell me the size of your league, because Natchez to me is probably a drop in an 8-man league. But if you're in a deep league, you're definitely not dropping Natchez. So until you tell me how deep your league is, it's hard for me to recommend dropping any of those guys for sure. Because Werenski, you can just stash him on IR spot, that's for sure. So there's no need to drop him. But Natchez, if you're in an 8-man league and there's some pretty good guys out there, then I might consider swapping him out. Hill is 6 still. Laffy looks good. Yeah, Laffy looks good every few weeks, and then he sucks the next week. So
yeah. He's got like 2 goals in the last 2 months, but he's still a point per game in the last 2 weeks. Make sense.
All right, to start 1, Hischier, Sharangovich, Buchnevich on Saturday. So who are the Blues playing?
The Blues, where were they? I was right on it.
The Blues are playing.
The Bruins. They get the Bruins at home.
I like Buchnevich always. But Hischier, I like Hischier. That's a tough decision. I imagine this is a pretty shallow league.
That's probably the hardest question. Definitely Hischier and Buchnevich over Sharangovich. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, the floor is going to be safer with Hischier and Buchnevich. I think the ceiling, if you're just going to like if you're down by a lot and you need to just take a shot, you can start Sharangovich and hope he just shoots out a couple of goals again. But no, I probably wouldn't go Sharangovich unless I'm super desperate and I just need a huge game. I'd probably go Buchnevich is probably the safest play. But you also can't go wrong with Hischier against Florida. So. Yeah, Bob has been pretty good, and so have the Bruins goalie. So I roll the dice between Hischier and Buchnevich, honestly. But I personally, I'd probably go Buchnevich.
Yeah, Ishier's got 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points, and -5 in 15 career games against the Panthers. So definitely not his favorite team to play against.
Okay. You have the stats against Boston?
Yeah, coming right up.
Because this is probably going to make the difference here, right? If there's 2 players that seem pretty equivalent, it's a good thing to check their history against that opponent.
I like to do that when I can't figure out, because these are 2 great players, right? Buchnevich. Yeah, see, Buchnevich is a point per game against the Bruins, and he's +2. He's got 19 points in 20 games against the Bruins.
There you go. Fire up Buchnevich. And it does help. Like literally the other night, I had to choose. I'm in a very, very shallow, like 8-man league, and I had to choose between starting Barkov and Draisaitl. And it's crazy because I have Pettersson and I have Philip Forsberg. Those guys were not options to sit. So, and I ended up benching Barkov because his matchup was not as good, and it ended up being the right call.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Sorry about that. I wanted to ask you, how did that go? What were their stat line quickly? Do you remember?
If I'm remembering properly, I think because I played Verhaeghe, I played Draisaitl, I played Pettersson, and I played Philip Forsberg. And I think Barkov only had 1 assist. I think Verhaeghe also had an assist, or it was a goal, something like that. So they were about the same. Draisaitl ended up scoring a goal, so he ended up being a little bit better. So I'm happy I started him. Good. And then Pettersson obviously has been going off. So yeah.
Good stuff, man.
That was a difficult decision.
You end up winning that week?
Well, it's this week actually. That was Tuesday night. So yeah. I'm winning all my leagues this week for sure. I'm up by a lot in all.
Good man.
It's good. It's good when you're up by a lot early because then you can just prepare for the next week. All right. What's the next question? I kind of lost where we are here.
LA's losing streak lately makes me want a KMS. Don't worry, bro. It won't be long. They'll turn it around. They're way too complete.
All right. So do you guys like Ehlers if healthy, or Philadelphia? Ehlers if healthy versus Philadelphia, or Stone versus Calgary? It's a points league with banger peripherals.
I'll go with Stone.
Yeah, I'd probably go Stone as well.
And I know, speaking of Stone, I made a video in the summertime during my prep where I was telling people, like, watch out for Mark Stone. His ADP is way too low. Like, stay clear. And then I ended up drafting, and he was still available in most leagues at like 130, 150. So people really like in different leagues. So I told people, even in my surroundings, like, no, don't bother with Mark Stone unless he falls really deeply. And I ended up drafting him in 50% of my leagues because he fell so far, and I was still kind of scared. But now he's been tremendous. But I'm actually, it's a good question for you. Would you consider, since Mark Stone is doing so well, we both know he is very streaky. Doesn't get a lot of pair-ifs, but also like phenomenal shorthanded player, a real complete NHL player, good for a Stanley Cup contending team. But in fantasy, he can turn the lights on, and he can also turn the light off pretty quickly. So do you think Mark Stone is a guy to trade, or do you hold until playoffs and hope he doesn't injure?
Well, listen, I think holding Mark Stone is not the worst idea in the world. At this point, he seems like he's going to be healthy the whole year, and he's getting some great deployment. He's top line right now with Eichel, top power play, and he's scoring a point just about every game, and it's been pretty consistent for a while. Obviously, the ceiling isn't super high any given night, but with him pretty much scoring a point every night, his floor has been pretty good as well. If he does go cold, though, then his floor is going to suck. But as of right now, I don't see that happening with the good deployment he has. The only reason I would deal him is I'd be a little bit worried of that happening, and also the fact that he's still, I'm still a little bit worried about the injury proneness. But at this point, if you're holding Mark Stone, I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, so you agree with me? Definitely Mark Stone over Ehlers this weekend.
I wouldn't say definite, but I would probably play him. I would probably play Stone. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, if you play Ehlers, I don't think it's going to cost you the week either. I think it's a pretty similar matchup there.
12 points league with some cats. Sit one, Makar, Ekblad, Faber.
Okay, you can't sit Makar.
Sorry, who's sender?
Yeah, who's sender versus LA? Well, it would be the Detroit's playing LA, so who could be sender?
Cider.
Yeah. Cider.
Sorry. Took us a while to get that one.
Yeah, seriously. And Anderson against Vegas. Which Anderson is this? Oh, Rasmus? No. Yeah, Rasmus. Yeah, Rasmus Anderson's got 2 S's. Okay, that's why I got confused. That let's do a little bit of digging there. Rasmus Anderson is actually currently not PP1 in Calgary. They've put Waiver there for the time being.
Yeah, he's my pick. I would bench Anderson, and especially if Hill or Thompson play tomorrow, if they're back or whatever. I don't think Calgary has the depth to score that many goals in Vegas, even with a second, third string goalie. I think Vegas is just way too deep, even without Shea Theodore. And just like you said, if he's not PP1 anymore, who is, by the way?
Waiver for the time being.
Waiver. Yeah. Okay, nice.
Yeah. I like Mackenzie Waiver, and in the past he never got power play one time, but it's nice to see Calgary actually giving him that opportunity.
When we started talking again about hockey, he was one of the first players you told me that you really liked before he started. I wasn't sure about that, but a couple years later, I agree with you. He holds a lot of value now.
Oh, I love Mackenzie Waiver. He's been phenomenal. Huge bounce back year this year, so really nice to see as a big fan of his. Yeah, so bench Rasmus Anderson if you didn't catch that. Are we holding Montour? Yeah, we're holding Montour. It sucks to hold Montour right now, and trust me, I do own him in one of my and actually the league I'm in with Max. My categories league, and trust me, he's filling out no categories right now. His peripherals suck. He's putting up basically no points. It's funny because when he does put up points, he puts up 2 in one game, but that's pretty rare. So yeah, it sucks to hold Montour right now. I do believe though at some point he's gonna figure it out. He's getting those top power play opportunities, and I think that he's gonna, at least maybe not quite to the extent of last year, but I think he's gonna have a pretty good second half of the year. Hopefully that starts to pick up soon.
Is it me, or every time I look at the Panthers PP1, it's always different?
They've put OEL there for like a game or two, but then it always ends up going back to Montour. Is it showing somebody else there right now?
No, it's Montour.
Okay. No, it's pretty much been Montour there since he's been back. I know they pushed him out there, but no, I'm expecting Montour to bounce back. I'm not sure do you agree with that, or do you think he's a bust this year?
I don't think he's a bust. I think he's a hold, but I think people hold him too high I think people seen what he could do last year and expected him to replicate that consistently. I don't think we are going to see Brandon Montour put up numbers like last year regularly. And that's why I didn't touch him at the beginning of the year. For Cats League, I even preferred Ekblad because I expected him to block a lot more shots. And maybe Ekblad is not, when he's hot, he's not scared to put the puck on net. So even to this day for category leagues, I prefer Ekblad, but he's also been slow. He's also been kind of slow since coming back.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Ekblad fan. I think he is. He's a hold in deeper leagues, but in shallower leagues, I don't even think you have to hold Ekblad on your team personally. But Montour, one thing to note is that his shooting percentage is 1.7% this year. He's only got 1 goal. So obviously, at some point, he's going to start putting that puck in the net. Last year, had 16 goals. So that's something that's definitely bound for positive regression, especially if he continues to play on that top Florida power play. I think that something is going to click at some point, and he's going to start scoring a little bit more.
So Montour's he only has a goal. He's got 7 points in 25 games. Ekblad has a goal, 8 assists, 9 points. And I'm looking right now, Montour is a -2 and Ekblad is a +13. Montour is already 29 years old. Therefore, at the beginning of the year, I didn't see him even coming back from injury. This was kind of what I expected. But I think he's going to get better for the second half.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put too much hope in him. Like even at the draft, I wanted to draft guys like Werenski and Matheson over him, even if he would have been healthy.
I think I had Montour slightly over Matheson this year, but I was so high on Matheson this year. I think I managed to get him in 2 of my 3 leagues,
you stole him from me in our league.
Yeah, pretty happy about that. Another thing to note about Montour though is his PDO is 95%, which means he's been quite unlucky. So expect him to have a better second. All right, enough about Montour. Let's go to the next question. Start 3 out of Stützle, Kyrou, Nelson, Jarvis, and Drouin. Kyrou just coming off a hat trick, so let's fire him up. He's fired up, in my opinion. Drouin against the Leafs could be a fun one, but you can't play Drouin over Stützle.
I feel I own Stützle and in a couple leagues. I'm just gonna go take a look at his stats, but he's been kind of cold recently.
Yes, he's been rough for sure. He's been kind of a huge disappointment. Luckily, I don't own him in any league. He wasn't someone that I was really targeting this year. But he's been a little bit of a disappointment. Off the top of my head, I would start Stützle, Kyrou, and Nelson. But let's take a look at what Stützle's stats have actually been recently, and let's see if maybe we'll consider starting Drouin or Jarvis over him.
I agree with you about Kyrou, especially if it's a points league, shots, hits, block. I'm not a big fan of Seth Jarvis.
Neither
been. I feel like every time I watch the Canes play, he's always getting set up by Aho, by Teravainen, by other players. He's a very good complementary piece, but I put him in the same mold as a Jake DeBrusk kind of guy. When they're streaky, when they're good, they're really good. They put the points up, but they're complementary piece.
Yeah, could not agree more. And the one time I streamed Seth Jarvis this year in my 8-man league, he absolutely sucked. Second I dropped him, he lit it up. So I personally have a vendetta against Jarvis, but I don't think he's a bad play. But yeah, how's Stützle looking lately?
No points in the last 4 games. 1 assist in the last 7 games. So I would fire up.
The problem is they're playing the Sharks.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you who are they playing?
Yeah, and honestly, if Martin Jones plays as good as he's playing, Drouin is not even that good of a start. I'd fire up Stützle, Kyrou, and Nelson. Don't overthink this. I think those are the 3 best players that you listed. I just fire those guys up. You agree?
I'd go Stutzla, Kyrou, and Drouin.
You don't think Nelson is the? Oh, Nelson's fantastic.
Yeah, he's been really good.
He's been great for a couple of years now, like consistent too. Like, no, I would definitely wouldn't bench Nelson personally.
But PP1 with McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar, it's like the point. Even if he doesn't play well, the points are still coming for him. Like you put anybody in that seat, you put me and we're gonna get an assist every 2-3 games with McKinnon, Rantanen, and
you say that, but Drouin couldn't do that the whole first half of the year for.
Yeah, you needed to. I think McKinnon is a great teammate, though. He's tough on his players. He's tough on everybody. I think I'm so happy for Drouin to get his friend back, to get a chance on PP1 and to actually succeed. Not everybody in Montreal wants his demise. We always loved him. Glad he's doing good. I can't find the Islanders. Who are the Islanders playing, Julian?
The Islanders are playing the
Nashville in Nashville. Eh?
Yeah, but I mean, again, Saros hasn't been that good. I don't mind starting Nelson against them tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll stick with Kyrou for the first time tonight. I think I'll disagree with you. I'll stick with Kyrou, Stutzla, and Drouin over Nelson and Jarvis.
All right. Pick up Woll or Gustafsson from free agency. I think it's a no-brainer. You've got to pick up Philip Gustafsson. Woll is going to be competing even when he comes back with Martin Jones, considering how good Martin Jones has been. And even with Fleury healthy, Gustafsson should be getting at least 2 of every 3 starts, in my opinion. He's a fantastic goalie, and he should have a very good second half of the year.
100% agree with you.
I have Vass and Decord and Gustafsson and Woll on IR. Which 2 should I keep and which 2 should I trade away?
Keep Vasilevsky, keep Gustafsson, and you got to keep the cord for now. So I would say keep 3 and let go of Woll, because even if Samsonov has been terrible, I was big on Samsonov at the beginning of the year. Finally got to drop him, but now that he's back in the mix, you can't really take him out of the equation. Goalies are streaky, and he could come back and he could give you insane numbers for the second half, and he could be a league winner. I know it sounds crazy, but
I think it's possible. But I think as soon as Woll gets healthy, I think Samsonov might be headed back to the AHL with Martin Jones playing as good as he is. They're not going to keep 3 goalies around, are they?
No, not at all. And I'm going to say something. I went to see I think I told you this already, but when I went to see a preseason game, Montreal-Toronto, Montreal had their A team, meaning Suzuki, Caulfield, Anderson, etc. And Toronto's best player, they didn't have their B team, they had their C team, and they had their best player was Fraser Minton, just to give you an example, and maybe Jarn Krok. There was no Marner, no Tavares, no Matthews, no Nylander, etc. And honestly, I had season tickets a couple years ago. I've seen in so many hockey games in my life, but Martin Jones in preseason was one of the best goalie performances I have seen in my entire life. He blocked something I should go double check that preseason game. He gave a goal in the third, I think, and he saved 37 shots. But that was incredible. And a couple of days later, they sent him to the AHL, and me and my buddy went to see the game. We couldn't believe it, So that's
he was
why
on the roster spot, right? I mean, he knew he was competing with Samsonov and Woll for a spot.
Yeah,
but lucky for him, there was some injuries, and he got to get called up pretty quickly and show actually that he can continue that kind of production.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad I went to see that game, because I would have never added him right away. But as soon as Woll got injured, I jumped on the market. I got Jones in 2 or 3 of my 4 leagues, and so happy I did so far. He's been incredible. But really, in probably 100 games I've seen in my life, Martin Jones had the best goalie performance, and it was a preseason game.
That's crazy to say, because Martin Jones has been so bad for so many years.
Don't forget that he's never played for juggernauts either. He had to play with tough teams. He got thrown under the bus a lot.
That's true. If you do need to trade away 2 of them, though, I think Vasilevsky and Gustafsson are the 2 that I would trade away. I think Gustafsson is a fantastic goalie. I think he's trading away Decord right now, if you might be able to get something really good for him right now. We don't know if Decord is going to be able to continue that kind of momentum. So if you can get like a really juicy, like top, I don't know, 40, 50 forward, it might be worth at least throwing the bait out and seeing who bites. What's next? We got a lot of questions to get through.
It's Giroux against San Jose, Byfield against Detroit, or Farabee against Winnipeg.
Farabee against Winnipeg. Giroux versus you have to start Giroux versus San Jose. I think you got to start pretty much any stud versus San Jose.
You got to play the matchup.
Yeah, I wouldn't start Farabee. I think the Jets goalies have been fantastic, and Farabee has been kind of cold as of late. Yeah, and Byfield's ceiling is never all that high. I would definitely play Giroux here.
If Giroux was playing a team like Tampa Bay, it would be a little more difficult, but that's very, very, very easy. Fire up Claude Giroux for sure.
Next comment: Martin Jones is not a good goalie.
Well, come on, brother.
To be fair, I believed that for a long time, but he's really, really showing this year. I still think he probably is going to collapse at some point, but as of right now, it's hard to say anything bad about Martin Jones.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ever had as good as a team as today.
Yeah, he was the Kings at one point, but I don't think the Kings team was as good back then.
And he was behind Jonathan Quick as well.
Yeah. So Tyler said he's in a 12-man league. So he has. If you're in a 12-man league, Tyler, you're going to hold on to Natchez, all right? I think he's a hole in a 12-man league for sure. Sanheim, Lundqvist, or other. Oof. Is there a league? I'm assuming it's a super deep league. If you are in a super deep league, I would say Sanheim for sure. Lundqvist is kind of serviceable right now with Heiskanen out, but when Heiskanen comes back, Lundqvist is going to be useless.
Don't bother.
Yeah, exactly. Even with him out.
If you could give us some more information, maybe we could give you a more detailed answer.
Yeah, like more other options out there, but I think Sanheim, he's really streaky, hot and cold, but he's probably the guy. If you need to hold somebody, he's probably the guy to hold here. Brant Clark, I think he's a keeper's guy. He's not someone that you want to have on your team right now.
Next year, guys. Next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen so many people waste an ad and a spawn on him just to be told that he's not playing tonight. Or
yeah, exactly. It's he's not really worth holding right now. That being said, if Doughty goes down with an injury, then you fire him. But Doughty is notoriously healthy most of his career. So,
do you think Brant Clark would take PP1 or did give it to Jordan Spence?
I would personally be pretty upset if they gave it to Jordan Spence. They gotta give Brant Clark an opportunity at that point, in my opinion. Somebody traded Stone for Morrissey. Good or bad? Great trade.
Yeah, amazing. I can't even get Pietrangelo for Mark Stone. What do you mean? That's amazing. I wish I could get Josh Morrissey for Mark Stone.
Yeah, no, you did get in that one. Draisaitl's production is down this year. Do you think he picks it up? Yeah, he was just playing with freaking scrubs like McLeod and Fogle for 2 weeks. At least that's what it felt like. Maybe it wasn't quite 2 weeks, but yeah, with better line mates, obviously power play with Connor McDavid. Yeah, Draisaitl's gonna pick it up. Don't worry too much about one of the greatest players in hockey.
We missed out on Buddy Habs fan 10. Tippett or Batterson? Cats League, but no shots. Definitely Batterson.
Cats League, no shots. Yeah, then Batherson. Although I do still like Tippett a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Weird that there's no shots in your league, though. I've never heard of a cast league without shots. Okay. Ehlers is injured. Yeah. Well, it's obviously, if we're telling you to play Ehlers, it's if he doesn't play, obviously play the other guy. Cider and Rams. Yeah, we got that. Don't worry. Hannafin, 7 goals, 0 power play time. Yeah, he's having a decent year. He's another guy, very streaky. He'll have some really nice hot streaks. I think right now he's in a little bit of a hot streak. Definitely someone who's streamable and serviceable while he's hot. And then he'll go super cold, and then that's when you drop him.
Trade GT Miller for Drysdale and points league redraft. I mean, I would say no.
For Draisaitl, JT Miller for Draisaitl.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You prefer Draisaitl to JT Miller, I would say.
As good as GT Miller is.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal this year, and he was definitely on my draft board in like every league. But yeah.
For okay, so for Mr. Josh Mayer, who keeps asking about the Sanheim and stuff, you got 4 teams: Minnesota, Philadelphia, Nashville, Dallas. If Thomas Harley or Brock Faber is available, definitely them. If not, I would go with a guy like Zamula over Drysdale. Zamula is still on the PP1. I would take Zamula over Sanheim, sorry. And if Drysdale's available, take him because he might become a keeper. What else? Is Tyson Barrie back?
I wouldn't touch Tyson Barrie with a 10-foot pole.
I know, but if it's a deep league, like he's giving us...
what type of league? Was it a Cats league?
No, he just needs help on D, but we don't have much information. But compared to Nils, I'll give you something. Compared to Lundqvist and Sanheim, I prefer a guy like Dante Fabro.
Yeah.
If I had to pick between them, at least he gets PP2.
Yeah, if by some miracle there's Jeremy Lowe's in your league, that dude's got some crazy peripherals this year. So
yeah, I would go look on the Nashville D. You got guys like Luke Shen, depending on what your league settings are for peripheral.
Almost all the Nashville Ds are somewhat serviceable this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey guys, I was wondering, out of Marchessault, McTavish, and Kyrou, who do I start?
Seguin.
Oh, Seguin's in there too, yeah. Are we starting only one of those?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
To me, it's Seguin, and it's not even close. Just by the hot streak that just happened, and Dallas playing in Chicago.
How has McTavish been doing lately? I don't have him in any leagues, but
I looked at him last week, and it was super streaky. He was super streaky. Like, he had that 3-assist game, and then nothing for 2 games. A goal and an assist. He does well, then he doesn't do anything. You're either getting a big performance. It depends. If you're down in your lineup, you need a big boom. Then McTavish could give you a big boom. But if you need a good floor,
how Kyrou's done against Boston in his career? Because low key, I kind of like that. I'm kind of leaning Kyrou personally. Yeah, so he's only played Boston 5 times ever, and he's got 5 points. So he's a point per game. His last game against Boston, he got a couple goals, and he's also just coming off a 3-goal game, Kyrou. So he might be a little bit fired up and want to continue that. So I don't hate Kyrou there either, but Seguin's probably safer. Kyrou probably has the higher point potential.
But they're playing in Boston or in St. Louis?
They're playing in St. Louis.
Yeah, Boston is with Swayman and Allmark. You know they're not giving up more than 3 goals, 2-3 goals. So there's that too. Also, the Golden Knights against. It would be interesting to see Mr. Marchessault. What has he done in his career versus Calgary's? Because we read the other names and it's like, Seguin popped in my mind for me. Kyrou popped in your mind for you. But let's go take a look at what Marchessault.
Yeah, they're definitely not a bad idea.
15 points in 23 games, -1. Very average. He's got no points against Calgary in the past 3 games that they've played against each other, and -2. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, that was at the beginning of his career. Last time Marchessault played the Flames, he had 3 assists.
Yeah. Well,
So
Marchessault.
Marchessault has 3 multi-pointers against the Flames and a lot of donuts in the other game. So he's a big boomer bust against Calgary.
All right. Well, that's my answer then. If you need a big game, fire Marchessault. He is playing on no. You know what? He's playing on a bad line right now.
Where is he with
Chandler Stevenson, who's literally done nothing in forever, and Dorfia.
Very disappointing, Stevenson this year?
Horrendous. He had one little hot streak, and I told everybody to add him because I thought finally he was going off, and then he decided to go back to doing nothing. So.
Is Laine worth an IR in a 12-team Cats league? I'm contemplating dropping him or Mintyukov, but both are mid, but so is my team. 100% stash Patrick Laine.
Yeah, I'd rather stash Laine over Mintyukov for sure.
And
yeah.
Do you think Mintyukov's worth went up with Drysdale leaving?
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually talking about that. I've already recorded my waiver wire video that'll go up tomorrow morning. I actually did include him in the waiver wire video as like an IR stash. I didn't realize he was going to be out six weeks when I recorded that, but still, you do have a lot of room on your IR. It doesn't hurt because Mintyukov at his peak can play like he did at the beginning of the season, and he was doing really well. He was putting up some decent peripherals. It was pretty much putting up a point a game, which was great. So if he comes back from injury and is fully healthy, and he can play like that again, just obviously his floor, if he plays like he's been playing recently, not that great.
It's news to me. I didn't know he was out for 6 weeks. So thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, no, 6 weeks.
Fun fact: Jackson Lacombe is now the PP1 defenseman in Anaheim.
Well, I think it's going to be Fowler at least for probably the next 6 weeks. That's
I'm
what
happy they're giving him. I'm happy they're giving him a chance because I saw a couple of games of the Ducks at the beginning of the year, and his skating was so smooth, and his vision of the play, like the passes he would make, were really interesting. I know he only has 6 assists in 37 games. He's a -22, but if they manage to develop him well. Because they just threw him in the mix without getting AHL time. They're a young team, so his stats looks horrendous right now. But this guy could be a really good top 4 in the next few years for them. A very low key offensive defenseman, even if the stats don't show it at the moment. So it's a good thing that he's going to get some PP1 time now that Drysdale's gone.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Montour always gets the third apple on the PP. Montour to Barkov to Kachuk to Reinhart. Yeah.
That must be so frustrating to watch.
His power play, on ice shooting percentage is about 15%. So it's pretty much where it was last year. It's just, I would just say he's getting a little bit unlucky there. The points should start to come. Deep league comparison here: David Savard or Chris Tanev for the next week. You know what? I think they're pretty equivalent. I think they're pretty equivalent. I have Tanev in our Cats league, and he's been fantastic. He literally 9 blocks last night.
Savard plays 4 games, including 2 off nights, whereas Chris Tanev plays on Tuesday,
That's exactly
Thursday, Saturday.
The guy who plays the most games, exactly. So yeah, go then go Savard. But they're pretty equivalent in general, I would say. Zamula, Sanheim, or Middleton. You know what? Middleton's gone really under the radar this year, and his floor night after night is ridiculously safe. If you're in a points league where all Cats, let's say shots, hits, and blocks all count for about the same, he's giving you about 3 points a night, in general, which is pretty good. His ceiling sucks though. So if you just want floor, Middleton, I think is not a bad pick there. Otherwise, right now at this moment, maybe Zamula for upside, but even then, I don't think he has that much upside because the Philadelphia Flyers power play 1, yeah, he's there, but they have the worst power play in the league. So honestly, I might just lean Middleton here because none of these guys are super great for me, in my opinion.
I'll go with Zamula.
Fair enough. Zamula has been PP1 this week. Yes, but again, Philadelphia Flyers got the worst power play in the league.
But there's a reason. I feel like there's a reason why he's on PP1. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I feel like I was looking at him a couple of days ago, and I feel like he has like 3 or 4 power play points in the last 2 weeks. So yes, they've been bad, but I feel like ever since he's been PP1, they kind of woke up. So before I 1, 2, okay, so 2 power play points back to back on January 6th and January 8th, which is
okay.
Pretty
better.
recent.
Yeah.
And another one the week before. So 3 power play points in the last 7 games.
Yeah, it's a bit of an improvement, I guess. Yeah. Next question though is drop Hurdle or Morgan Geekie. I would say Geekie for sure. I believe he's down to the 3rd line right now. He had a great deployment. He was getting top line, top power play, but for some reason, even though he's doing well, they put him back down to the 3rd line. I would say I would definitely drop Geekie over Hurdle. I think Hurdle's a good player, and he's unfortunately on a very bad team. But Geekie is only a guy who is profiting from that good deployment. He's not a great player like Hurdle is. Thanks. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you for watching. Drop 1. Pretend they're all healthy. Okay. Jenner, Couture, Patches, Cats League. That includes hits, shots, and blocks. Oof. You have to drop one.
I don't want to pronounce myself on that one. I'm not sure.
You're keeping Jenner because I just love the floor too much.
But wait, do you? The problem is we haven't seen what Couture and Patches have done, so it's almost impossible to say. I'm keeping Pacioretty, you're keeping Jenner. Me would be a toss-up between Couture and Jenner. Couture coming back to San Jose will help them a lot. I feel like he's their second best player after Erdl. So clutch, so good. And he also does the peripherals really well. Just like maybe not as much as Boone Jenner does, but I feel like Logan Couture's ceiling is a little higher than Jenner. So as much as I love Boone Jenner, and I would have to see a sample size of games from Couture and Pacioretty, I think I would hold Pacioretty and Couture just for the ceiling. If you want to be more, it's a tough one.
I know what you're saying. If you want to be safe, you hold Jenner. It's the safest play you can possibly make. Couture, in my opinion, as long as he's on San Jose, his ceiling's not that high. I think that, yeah, he's the next best player after Hurdle, but he's never going to play with Hurdle because he's also a centerman. And the players he can play with, not that great. I think that if you look at everybody in San Jose, even Hurdle himself, not having that great of a year fantasy-wise. So I don't think Couture is going to have a great year unless he gets traded at the deadline, which is absolutely possible. If he does, that's where he's going to have his value. But as of right now, I'd probably hold Jenner and Pacioretty. But
I would hold all 3 if I could.
Yeah. If you can hold all 3, hold all 3.
Oh, it's a 14-man league though, so he has room to keep all 3.
Yeah, I mean Pacioretty is healthy. Yeah, if you can keep all 3, keep all 3. To me, drop Couture or Pacioretty. I would say Jenner is just too safe of a floor there. I think he's like too guaranteed to be good when he comes back, whereas the other 2 guys are not guaranteed to be great this year. All right. How do you think Lekkonen's return would affect Drouin's deployment? Bednar hinted that he would slot into line 2 with Nichushkin, but do you think he eventually gets power play 1 despite Drouin playing well? So actually, again, I talk about that in my waiver wire video tomorrow. I have Lehkonen as an ad, but no, I actually don't think Lekkonen's going to get power play 1, at least not for a while.
And it won't matter.
Yeah. Nichushkin's been playing very, very well on that top power play. He finally got to be up there as soon as Lehkonen got injured, and it was the best decision ever for Colorado because he's been absolutely insane. And that's why I told you guys to all draft Valeri Nichushkin, because he's been a top 20 player since being on that top power play, despite that slow start of the season. And Lehkonen, yeah, he's probably going to play Nichushkin 5-on-5, so I think he's going to have a little bit of value. But without that top power play time, he's not going to quite have the value he had before going down.
His question, though, was if it would affect Drouin's deployment and not...
Would affect Drouin's deployment?
Yeah.
No, I think Drouin is going to stick that top power play as well right now because he's playing very well. And until he slows down, which I think he will at some point, I think Drouin is going to stick there. And he's also taking the faceoffs, I believe, on the power play. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah. He gets like a couple a game, loses most of his faceoffs, but we'll take the couple of faceoffs.
Yeah, I think that's why they want, because they had Johansson there for so long because I think they wanted a guy to take the faceoffs because they don't want McKinnon to take the faceoffs. And I think that's why they put Drouin there now because he could also take faceoffs. And that's why replacing Drouin with Lehkonen doesn't make a whole lot of sense for that specific reason. But we'll see. If Drouin starts to suck, maybe it'll happen. Drop Byfield for Troy Terry?
Depends on your league settings.
Yeah, they're pretty similar level players. I would say Terry is the more talented player. He doesn't depend as much on his line mates to get points.
Speaking of who started?
Terry. I think he depends a lot less on his line mates than Byfield does to get points. But yeah, it completely depends on your league settings here. I think Byfield, his peripherals are never that good. If you're looking for just straight up points, he's a safer bet. Terry, I think he shoots more. I'd have to check.
Well, Terry's one of the best shooters in the league, no?
Yeah,
like in terms of volume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's Byfield 78 shots and Terry 92 shots, but surprisingly, Byfield has more points. I thought Terry was better than that.
No, Terry hasn't had a great year. That's why. Byfield is definitely a safer bet for points because his deployment is great. Top line, top power play with Kopitar and Kempe. Like you can't go wrong there. But if you're looking for overall cats,
however,
overall cats, Terry is your better bet. If you're strictly looking for points, I would go Byfield.
I would go Byfield just because Byfield's playing with Kopitar and Troy Terry's playing with Henrique and Strome. That's just me. Very, very tight.
Don't sleep on Henrique though. So underrated.
No, I will hold on. Okay, I'm saying he's playing with Strome and Henrique, but those are like two of my favorite players, hockey wise, but fantasy wise, I try to stay clear.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Do you think Joey Decord will lose his starting role when Grubauer is healthy? No chance in hell. Grubauer was not good at all this year. And even if Grubauer maybe takes 1 out of every 3 or 4 starts away from Decord, there's no way Decord's losing a starting role unless he starts to play badly, and he hasn't played a bad game in a long time.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Joey Decord an MVP for the Calder Trophy a couple of years ago when they had a run? Or he went to the final? I feel like he's a big-time player when it's time.
Yeah, I remember him playing well in Ottawa, with a very short sample size, and I remember actually predicting that Seattle was going to take him from Ottawa in the expansion draft, and that was one of the few that I got right. They made some bizarre picks, but yeah, no, I do like Joey Decord, but no, I'd absolutely think he's going to keep his starting job even when Grubauer's healthy. All right, we're starting to wrap up the questions here, and I wanted to have this done around 7:30 anyway. So that's looking like it's going to happen, and we can get through all the questions probably. Raquel or Rust? For me, it's Raquel. He's top line, top power play. And he's looking really, really, really good right now. He sucked before going down with an injury, but since coming back, he's been another player, and the player that we know he can be. He was great last year, and he's showing it again how good Raquel can be.
I agree with you.
Flyers fan here, their power play has looked a lot better last 4 or 5 games. Zamula has really helped settle it down. Oh, great then. And maybe Zamula is not too bad of an ad if you're looking for a deep league defenseman ad.
Short term.
Timo Meier has been such a bum this season. What do you guys think? Personally, actually, he was on my do not draft list when I was going into the draft. He's a guy who you saw last year when he was traded from San Jose to New Jersey. Those numbers did go down quite a bit. He didn't get quite the same opportunities over there in New Jersey, and with all the talent in New Jersey, that's the thing. They have so many good players over there that he can only get so much ice time, right? So I think Timo Meier, he's probably going to get a little better, but yeah, he's not someone I was ever very high on this year.
I was really high on him for the first time, and big disappointment. It's probably my biggest mistake of the year. I did a lot of steals like Nylander, kind of high, but Timo Meier, I have him in 2-3 of my 4 leagues. I'm really thankful that he's on IR right now, but you can't drop him, and you can't even trade him because he has no value. Therefore, when you do such a mistake at the draft, you need to get the surroundings better. You need to have done a couple of good moves. If you draft a guy in the top 35 and he's not producing and he's terrible, you just need to hold, or else you're going to trade for lesser value. And who knows, at the end of the year, he might pop off and you're like, well, you haven't done nothing all year. So my advice to you is hold and hope for the best, man.
All right. Let's try to get through these last few questions. Let's go some quick shots here, quick fire. Is Tom Wilson still relevant in a 12-man league? I have him in my IR right now, and who should I drop between Byfield or Mangiapane? I would definitely prefer Wilson over Mangiapane. The caveat there is that Wilson is hell of a lot more valuable if there are hits involved in your league. If there are hits in your league, the dude is giving you a super safe floor night in night out. I'm assuming this is a points league, but even if it's a cast league and you have a hits category, the dude's giving you a crazy safe floor. He shoots a lot, he hits a lot, and he's putting up a decent amount of points, giving a really good deployment that he's getting this year. He's been arguably Washington's best player, and that's actually why he's going to the All-Star game.
I agree with you. Definitely drop Mangiapane over Byfield and Wilson. Yes, he's still relevant for 12-man league. And his follow-up question is, surprised with Ronek performance so far, have been my surprise pick of the year. Yes.
I could not have seen that coming. Like that's something I did not see coming from a mile away.
Anything Ronek, from the Canucks, honestly.
Yeah, I actually thought the Canucks might be a much better team this year, but Hronek having the year he's had without really much power play one time with Quinn Hughes in the mix, and it's crazy to see how good he's done with what he's had to work with. But yeah, he's going to keep rolling. Hronek, at this point, I don't see any reason for him to slow down. Drop Kemper or Lindgren. Oh, jeez, Lindgren's injured right now, no? Unless he's coming back.
Yeah, and they basically, I feel like the plan is put Kemper when they're playing away and put Lindgren when they're playing at home.
Is there an option for drop both? Is there a better goalie available in your league? Yeah, Kemper was actually one of my biggest mistakes this year. I drafted him 2 of my 3 leagues. I think he's a good goalie. He's just had a rough year this year, unfortunately. Yeah, I dropped him in our Cats league since goalie depth there's plenty of that. But I still have him in one of my leagues. So if you're in a super deep league, hang on to Kemper. Honestly, hang on to both of them if you're in a super deep league. But if there's other goalies available, honestly, just try to get rid of them both at this point.
Drop Faber or Jersey in a 10-man league. Jersey.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not you? Like, I mean, minus 8. No. -4 in the last 4 games, 1 assist in the last 6 games. Before that, he had 7 points in 3 games. But I see a lot of donuts,
Yeah,
lots of zeros.
The thing is with Dursey is that the Coyotes are very hot and cold, but when they're hot, Dursey it goes off, So
100%. But Faber's playing 30 minutes a game. It's there's keep the hot guy. When a guy plays 28, 30 minutes a game, go for it, man. And I'm looking at their hits, blocks, everything. It's so similar, like very, very, very similar. Two similar players, but as of right now, one guy's playing more than the other. So I would go with Faber.
I don't think Dursey is a drop in a 10-man league though. So if you can not drop either of them, that's probably the better play.
Linus Ulmark est blessé présentement. Avec qui je peux le remplacer? There's a lot of options.
And he wants to replace him. We can't really help you with that unless we know what options are available. But Ronta is probably available. That might be an option. It depends how deep your league. I'm going to list some really, really, really deep league options right now. And
quickly,
obviously,
if it's a shallow league, quickly you can have guys like Scott Wedgwood. People are going to be dropping a lot because Ettinger is going to come back. I think they're going to probably not play him as much as they played him before to keep him fresh and not injured. So a guy like Scott Wedgwood is not bad.
Not sure I agree.
It
you
depends
might get one out of 3 games, but I don't think that's enough, really.
Yeah. It depends on the league.
Depends who's available, right? We can't really help you unless we know who's really available in your league. Like, honestly, Alex Lyon is a guy getting a lot of starts right now, and if he's available, it could be a decent option as well.
That's so cool.
That's really cool. Are you Japanese or are you just traveling in Tokyo? You're just a loyal fan of ours. Either way, that's super cool. Thanks for watching. Oh my goodness, lots more. All right, let's try to bang these out quickly.
Booch against Dursey and Connor.
Booch and Dursey for Kyle Connor. Yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah.
I would take Connor for sure.
I'll take Connor too.
Yeah, if you're getting Connor for those guys, you're also opening up a spot to stream as well, which never hurts. So,
Boldy or Keller?
Boldy or Keller.
At first glance, I would have to go with Keller.
Yeah, Boldy's playing really well right now, though. He really is. He's finally turning things around. And you like to see it. I think Keller in general is the safer play, though.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, Keller for me.
Any leagues? How's he been doing lately? Past few games or so.
He's like -17 or something on the season. He's got 30-something points. Boldy has 26 points. They share the same pairings in terms of hits and blocks. Boldy has 8 power play points. And Keller.
It's good to keep in mind that Boldy was very, very, very bad to start the year. And he's been a lot more explosive as of late. And that's without Kaprizov as well. So
yeah, but also Keller has 17 power play points. And those Arizona guys on the power play, I don't know if you've watched a couple of Arizona games this year, but not only on the power play, but in overtime, their possession, I don't know the advanced stats, but I feel like their possession has to be one of the best in the NHL. Watching them dominate other teams, just passing the puck. And it mainly goes through Clayton Keller. So to me, I would stick with Clayton Keller above a point per game in a full season last year. Boldy hasn't done that lately, so definitely Keller for me.
Right. 12-point league with some cats. Start 6. Trocheck, Stutzla, Rossi, Kreider, Lafreniere, Nyquist, Boldy, Terry, Marchessault. Okay, well, I'm telling you right now, I'm not starting Lafreniere. I don't care. I'm starting Trocheck. I'm starting Stutzla. I'm starting Kreider. I'm starting Nyquist. I'm starting Boldy. And I'm starting Marchessault, I think.
So I'm just going to tell you who I'm benching.
Yeah. Rossi, Lafreniere, and Terry for me.
I'm benching Lafreniere, benching Rossi, Benching Boldy. Let's go Troy Terry. I don't like you much, but I'll take Terry ahead of Boldy.
Well,
But we agree.
What do you think so far of Montreal's rebuild? What trade grade do you give to Kent Hughes? I've loved to Kent Hughes so far. He's done a phenomenal job with what he's had to work with, and I think he's doing a great job, slowly but steadily rebuilding the Habs. And I think give a couple of years with all the amazing prospects we got, we're going to be a competitive team.
Give him a 7.9 out of 10. Lots of amazing, and that's a really I'm hard on the grades. Could have been better. Some things I really disliked, especially at the draft. Most of the trades have been phenomenal returns, and especially the minor ones. The ability to turn like 4th, 5th round picks and players who weren't going to come back anyways into 2nd, 3rd round picks, and then turning that into the defense we are building is really good. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But yeah, almost an 8 out of 10. I really don't like them.
Nothing into something like we got Jeff Petrie back, and then we actually got something for him. Like that was ridiculous.
Yeah. And if you look at the original tree of the trade, what he's managed to do is phenomenal. But again, I wasn't a big fan at first of Slavkovsky. I understand we need multiple years to figure out if it was the right thing to do or not. To this day, still not what I would have done, but hey, it's okay. Yeah. Last year, I was heartbroken. I never thought in my life, I've been following Mishkov, Mirosnichenko, Butt, and all these phenomenal Russian players for like 3-4 years now. Like they broke all the under 16 records before people started talking about them. So I was big on Mishkov for like 5 years, and I would have never thought that we could have had a chance to get him. I don't know what the reasoning was with the defense that we have. I don't hate Ryan Backer, but I think Michkov is probably a generational player.
Definitely going to be a great player. It's possible that when we met with him, though, that he didn't want to sign with Montreal, or you don't know what happened behind the.
There's a lot of things that we don't know for sure, but hey.
Yeah. All right, let's try to get 3 more in.
Yeah.
All right. He's got Saros, Talbot, and Thompson in a Cats league. Forwards are stacked. Stream goalies when Hill comes back. Is he asking if he should be dropping Thompson when Hill comes back?
Nah, don't stream goalies. You already got Saros, Talbot, and Thompson plus Hill. You'll have the duo, so you'll have four goalies.
Well,
I think that's enough.
Maybe he doesn't have Hill, but either way, you don't even need Thompson with Saros.
I don't understand the question, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. Honestly, in the Cats league that I'm in, the only one that I'm in with Max, I only have one goalie, and I hit the minimum starts every week. I have Demko, and Demko freaking wins every single week for me. I don't think having lots of goalies in the Cats league is necessarily a great plan, because one bad night it'll bring down your save percentage a lot. So there's definitely different strategies to play that. But that's how I like to play it. Lindgren is back tomorrow. Okay, thanks for the update. That I didn't know. My team is pretty stacked as I finished drafting my team by round 6. Keeper, bangers, please. Okay. Funny story, I worked at the bank and was filling in for the tellers one day, and I served Sean Dursey. LOL, he served a piece of paper, and I stashed it in my desk. Should have been a sign for me to draft him. Should have asked him for a picture. I would have been super professional. Eichel, Reinhardt, Kempe, Panarin, Rantanen, Pavelski, Dozy, Yossi, Hughes, Riley, Kopitar. 12-man league. On my bench is Marner, Fox. Your Marner's on your bench?
How are you in a 12-man league with all those players?
Yeah, you're gonna win that league.
If you don't, there's a problem, buddy.
Tomorrow, though, I might start Marner over Pavelski.
I was gonna say start Marner over Kempe.
Over Kempe?
Yeah, because Pavelski plays in Chicago.
Yeah, it's true. Kempe plays the wings though.
Maybe Fox. Maybe Fox instead of Dunn quickly, just like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's go through a couple more questions here. I asked the favorite jersey question. Other demon are Doughty, Dolly, and Bouchard, Nurse. Okay, well that's pretty good. Yeah. Nurse has been a little underwhelming, but it's still pretty great defenseman.
I love Darnell Nurse.
If you can try to trade one of those guys, though, that would be like you said, you can't find a trade. You can keep trying. If not, drop jersey is not the worst thing in the world. Honestly, there are no good.
Stammer and Caulfield for Eichel. Would you do that?
No.
Me neither.
No.
And another thing to mention, Eichel is very injury prone, so you'd be losing Stamkos and Caulfield for nothing if something happens. It's something to think about.
Is he very injury prone? I think he's been a bit better lately, but yeah. No, I think keep Stammer and Caulfield. Both those guys have not played to their best this year yet, and their best is yet to come.
He's my favorite player, by the way. I have his jersey. Obviously, I play with it outside, but I never own him in fantasy. So, but he's still my favorite player. You know, he scares me in fantasy, man. You never know when he's going to be out.
Yeah, right. I go. You're saying. Okay. Julian, what was your worst take this year in retrospect? Miro being better than Bouchard? Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I think I had Miro one or two or three spots higher than Bouchard in my preseason ranking, something like that. Yeah, he's still roasting me for that.
Yeah, but guess what?
Been rough this year.
Put Miro in Bouchard's place, and Miro eclipses Bouchard's numbers.
Oh, for sure. Bouchard, Bouchard also sucks defensively, but we're just talking fantasy wise, right? So, yeah, no, Bouchard's been great this year. Okay, there's two more comments, so let's take a look. Currently in the lead with only one loss. I was worried about the Marner versus Colorado matchup. Yeah,
he just got 4 points.
Don't be. Colorado was letting in plenty of goals. Huh. Biggest bust so far is Pierre-Luc Dubois. Drafted him around the 5th and 7th. Yeah, I mean, drop PLD at this point. He's a bust. I'm 100%.
Grab Monahan, since we're expecting him to be traded. More value? I don't think so. I think if Monahan gets traded to a contender, he's going to play third line minutes with PP2, and he will not have more value than he does right now in Montreal.
No.
Unless Yahoo wakes up and finally gives him winger availability, then he's worth a little more.
Yeah. All right. There's one more card. I don't have to go. Drop Thompson or stream. Okay, that's what he was asking. Thompson might still get half the starts when Hill comes back, but it seems like you really don't need Thompson. I would go with forwards at that point. You don't need. You have two goalies that are going to fill your goalie stats. I would stream forwards and try to get cats and points in your forward or defenseman categories.
Yeah, you're just basically trading a 1A for a 1B or 1B for a 1A. Yeah. There's not much.
When do you think Elias Lindholm
ends up? Where do you think Elias Lindholm?
They've been saying Boston, maybe. They do need a
Boston
center. Yeah, probably Boston. If he does, he'll have a lot more value. Bennett or Dano when Carlson comes back from IR.
Bennett.
Yeah, definitely Bennett. Dano is a waiver in pretty much most league formats, whereas I think Bennett has some upside in a lot of leagues.
What to do with Tuck? To garde.
You hang on to Tuck. You'll be all right. He's I think he's still top line over there in Buffalo.
Yeah,
top line with Middlestat, Thompson, top power play. I mean, yeah, maybe he's been a little underwhelming. I haven't really kept too much tabs on Tuck, but he'll be all right. All right, let's wrap it up here in a keepers league. Goals, assists, power play points. Would you trade Eichel for Tage?
No.
No. I hang on to Eichel. Eichel's been a top tier fantasy performer, and Tage has been a little disappointing after that great breakout year last year. No, I'd hang on to the sure thing, and that's Eichel. All right, well, that was I think that was a pretty good first live stream of the year.
Yeah, that was fun, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, hey, thanks for participating, Max. And honestly, guys, this is actually the last game of the last day of the entire NHL season that all 16 teams are playing. I'm not saying it's going to be the last live stream, but it's the last time every single team is playing this season. Maybe we'll do it again on a 14 team night or 14 game night or something like that. We'll see. But definitely, it seems like you guys enjoyed this kind of interaction with us. So we'll definitely keep that in mind in the future.
All right, perfect, brother. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk soon. Good luck in your matchup, and I hope you get wins in every single one of them except the one we're in together. I need to catch up to you in the standings.
Well, so far it looks like I'm going to take it, but we'll see. Take care, man.
Brother. Take care, buddy.
You too. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.